was about to say Meatless Monday. I'm a day early. Amazing transformations. And I'm really excited actually to have here with me my guest, Richard Hubbard. And he has an amazing transformation to tell us. And as you know, on this show, we love coming on and telling stories and our journeys of plant-based transformations to hopefully help you if you're on your journey to have some motivation and to really see what the plant-based diet can do. And there are so many different I guess there's a lot of health information out there. So I think when you really simplify it, it all comes down to what we're designed to eat and what it can do for our healing. So I want to welcome you, and I want to welcome our co-host here and producer J&J Video Reacts. Thank you for being here and for joining.
You're welcome, sweetie. Thank you for having me.
And
And Richard, it's good to meet you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me as well.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying this.
it's awesome. 150 pounds, huh?
Yes, it's been quite a journey.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm curious. I can't wait to hear the diseases that you've reversed and your
Absolutely.
journey. Yeah.
So let me start with my before picture, which you probably shared to your audience, but just in case they haven't seen it. I was over 350 pounds. This was back in 2011. I had tried every diet out there, high protein, low fat, everything in between, and nothing ever worked. I did do the gym a few times a week, and wasn't really a serious athlete back then either, and I was getting nowhere. I was starting to get symptoms of pre-diabetes, like I started to get some neuropathy and different symptoms I've read over the years that was probably pre-diabetic at the time. That wasn't confirmed until I had my first physical. He wasn't so much concerned about my sugar as much as he was my blood pressure. This is my first physical in I don't know, since college days, and I was really nervous about going to the doctor. I knew something would be off, and I didn't want to hear it. So the only reason I went to the doctor was actually to save money. The state of Connecticut, they were changing their health insurance requirements for their state employees. And in order to get a cheaper premium, I had to finally do a physical. So I just by being a cheapskate, I guess, I ended up going to the doctor finally and facing my fear. And he confirmed my concerns. I knew there'd be something off, and so he gave me one more appointment and another follow-up lab work, and he wanted to see if there's any improvement. The blood sugar came down somewhat, but it was the blood pressure that was still very elevated. So he told me he would put me on meds. So I picked up the meds the following day or so, and I read the side effects. And I remember talking to my mom about it, who was a nurse, and she told me because she's so used to passing out meds to her clients, and she says, "Oh, everybody's on something. Like it was no big deal." And I knew everybody in my family was on meds, and I really didn't want that. So I went to the internet and searched what foods would contribute to high blood pressure and what would help bring it down. And that led me toward a plant-based diet. I didn't know it at the time, but I started to cut back on foods. And I remember one of the first foods I cut out was red meat. And that was back in 2012. And I also eliminated aspartame. And over time, as I was eliminating certain ingredients like aspartame, it was beginning to be products that were fewer and fewer ingredients. As I became more obsessed with ingredients, and that led me toward a whole food plant-based diet eventually. And After about 6 months, I went back to the doctor. He admitted that I no longer needed the meds,
That's awesome.
Nice.
and I was only down like maybe 50 pounds or so. I don't even remember at that 6 month point. So he told me to keep going, but he actually wanted me to do Weight Watchers for men. I guess there was a campaign back then for men to join Weight Watchers. But I figured I was doing well enough on my own, so I never did that. And at 12 months after that physical, I was down 120 pounds. And I proved him wrong. He told me that day that he never thought I could do it. And that only like, I forgot the percentage, maybe 3% of his patients do what I did. And he was absolutely amazed.
That
I'm
is
amazed listening to it.
Oh, thank you.
that's a lot of discipline. And the thing is, I think I don't even know if a lot of people know aspartame. I might be saying it wrong. It is in so many things that you don't
Yes.
realize, like gum. If you chew gum, it's in so like diet sodas, right?
Yep. Yep.
It's just like when you start looking at the ingredients in processed food, and it really, can take a toll on different health conditions that we don't even know we're consuming, not to mention, the pre-diabetes I talk about a lot, and the high blood pressure, because animal protein has the high saturated fat in it that, really is the root cause of those things. And it's a lot of people try to go on these different diets that are eliminating sugar and carbs and different things, and really just getting to the root of, you can eat whatever you want, and just eliminating those couple of things, like it worked, for you. And what do you find that you enjoy eating? Like, do you feel like you're restricted, or do you have like,
No,
you love what you eat, like
I,
how I
I love what I
do?
eat. Um, I always liked vegetables, even growing up. I mean, not all vegetables, but I mean, I did have favorite foods like tomatoes. I loved strawberries as a kid. But the problem was, I was also I became a binge eater after college. Um, I ate way too many sweets. I remember after college, I would overdo ice cream. I'd eat practically a half gallon a
Oh,
day.
I've done that.
Yeah,
I
I
remember
was
right
really
after
out
I
of control.
survived cancer, that was the first thing that I did because I had gone down to 130 pounds.
Oh wow.
And yeah, when I was after my operation and everything was copacetic, the first thing I did, I went to Friendly's, but had them give me a container of the peanut butter topping.
Oh yeah,
I
yep.
bought a bottle of Hershey's syrup, and I went and bought myself a half a
Made those
gallon
homemade Reese
of
cups.
vanilla ice cream and chocolate and made Reese cup sundaes all weekend and just I went through the whole thing.
The
I
thing
know.
is that you
Yep,
can make all of that in the vegan version now, right?
Yeah,
yep.
yeah. And
Um,
little did I know I was reaching back for the cancer by doing that.
Right.
I
We
didn't
don't
know
know
that
these
then.
things until we do further research, and I had no idea the damage I was doing.
Yeah.
I
Shout out
just went.
to Tessa and Diesel Dan. Welcome, guys.
yes, welcome.
Yeah,
And then we have some questions from them after we're
yeah.
finished. I'll
Sure,
ask you those.
sure.
Thank you
But
guys for coming. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
yeah, I was gonna say I knew something was wrong because yeah, I was beginning to feel like neuropathy sensations and fatigue, and
Yeah.
knew something wasn't right. But I still was very ignorant about my diet. Trying all these different diets, thinking they were healthy, like high protein and these different things that never worked. It wasn't until I went fully whole food plant based that I realized that I love all these foods. I never crave the sweets or any of the bad food. Um,
And look at this amazing transformation. Look at that.
And you do a lot of working out. So can
I
you
do.
take us through like what you eat in a day, just to kind of give people an idea? Because I think people may want to do this, but they're like, what the heck would I eat if I'm
Oh,
gonna?
absolutely, absolutely. So my favorite breakfast, I always start the day out with steel cut oats, And
Oh my God, I know someone else who likes steel cut oats
those are my favorite. And I
back
put
in the day.
yeah, chia seeds, flax seeds, ground. I also do berries, banana. I have a pretty large breakfast. I also have almond butter on very lightly processed Susie Sin cakes. I don't know if you've heard of them.
No.
It has,
Are they like crackers or?
yeah, it has very few ingredients.
Okay.
Like mine is, there's different kinds. Like the one I have now is quinoa and sesame seeds. Anyway, I put almond butter on there, and I'm very satisfied after the breakfast. Gets me
You're making
going.
us hungry.
I
What's that?
know, right?
Yeah. So it gets me going. I really kind of do practice an intermittent fast too, because I don't have the breakfast until around noon. So people's lunchtime is actually my breakfast.
Yeah,
Uh,
I love intermittent fasting. I
yeah,
I do this I call it my 9 to 5 where I'll go 20 hours. I won't go 9 in the evening till 5 the next evening, and then I'll have a 4-hour eating one. That's when I'm really trying to like, lose weight
yeah,
and,
yeah.
you know,
And it works too. Yeah.
yeah, I love it.
The thing with my intermittent fasting though, I admit I eat too late in the day. It's just because of my work schedule. I
I
mean, it
know,
works
me
for
too.
me.
5
I
to
do the
9, that's
same thing.
late.
Yeah, it is, and I finish about 9 as well. Uh, it's just something I just can't seem to break. But it works for me anyway. I know my lab
Your
works
body
so
gets
good.
used to it.
Yeah, yeah. And plus, my mom, she was, it must be something in my genes because she worked nights. She was a registered nurse for years and years.
Oh,
Uh,
shout out to your mom.
yeah. Yeah,
Definitely.
she just recently retired a few years ago. I'm really proud of her because she worked into her 70s. And
Wow.
Wow.
yeah, but
That's
she also
That's
reversed her
awesome.
diabetes because of my coaching.
Oh, that's great. I'm working on Mom,
Nice.
are you listening to this?
I hope
Do you
she
hear
is.
that? She
I
has
hope she
diabetes.
is too.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to convince my mom to do this, and I think these streams are gonna help at
Oh,
some
I
point.
hope she
I'm gonna
does it. Yeah,
convince her.
because she feels better than ever.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
and med free. And not many people of her age can say that. And
And look, your journey has
It's
inspired
true.
already so many others, and who knows how many people will reach. And so, okay, what do you eat in that evening
oh
when
yeah,
you finish?
so after the breakfast, eventually sometime mid afternoon, maybe late afternoon, I have a huge salad. This is based on Dr. Furman, who I first learned of in 2012. If you don't mind, I'll back up to
That's
Dr.
great.
Furman too. I just want to mention in April 2012, I happened to catch an episode of him. I was home from work. It was almost like fate that I caught his episode on Dr. Oz.
Hmm.
And he was talking about the G bombs foods, which are greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds.
Oh, right.
And
Hmm.
ever since then, even though I follow other plant-based doctors' advice as well, I incorporate the best of them. I do eat the G bombs mostly every day. I don't think there's a day I skipped it. Like those are my base foods, even though there's others as well. But so the G bombs are in my salad, and I use a balsamic vinegar on top. Or there's also
That's my favorite.
yeah, I love it too. Also, there's a place in California I learned about from Chef AJ, California Balsamic. And one of my favorite dressings, it's actually a vinegar, is a cilantro flavored balsamic.
That sounds like something I would like because I
Yeah,
make guacamole and I use cilantro in
oh,
that.
you'll love it. Yeah. Plus, there's a pomegranate one I like from there.
Oh, that sounds good. We'll have to check into
I'm gonna go
that
get this pick.
because I'm doing all raw right now, so I'm experimenting with making my own dressings, and I'm sometimes winning and sometimes failing with
Yeah.
my own
Well, yeah, there's ups and
concoctions
downs,
there.
of course. But I
Hmm.
also want to give a shout out to pomegranates I just mentioned.
Hmm.
Because during the first year with my research, how to lower my blood pressure, I was reading about how beneficial pomegranates are to blood pressure. So I started eating those as well, and I love pomegranates as well. Try to include them in my diet every day. Uh, so after the salad, yeah, I might, depending on how hard I was working out, Yeah, have a Lar bar
How about
afterward.
that? Huh? We got the comparison for you.
Oh wow, that's quite graphic.
That's pretty awesome, dude.
Oh,
Way to
thank you.
go. Way to go.
Okay, go ahead. So the
Yeah,
lar bar.
yeah. It has like maybe 3 ingredients. Yeah, I have that if I feel like it's needed if I was working out hard enough. I also have a smoothie. Now my smoothie includes a lot of greens. I'll include a banana in there. Yeah, things like celery. I love cilantro, especially. I increased my cilantro because last year I had my mercury removed from my mouth. I had the amalgam fillings, and over the years I've been reading about how bad amalgams are, and so I finally had those removed. And cilantro helps detoxify the body from heavy metals. So
I just heard that recently too.
yeah, so
Awesome.
I believe the cilantro has helped me detoxify because I never had any side effects after the removal, and it's been almost a year since they were removed, and I kept up the cilantro. I just like it in the smoothie.
Yeah.
Uh, after the smoothie, in the evening I'll have some steamed veggies, maybe another small salad. I love sweet potatoes. One of my favorites is purple sweet potato. I don't know if either of you have had that.
I
Uh,
don't think
Never
I've
had
tried
those.
them, but I've heard of them. That's really cool. We used to eat a lot of, or I used to eat a lot of sweet potatoes. Like I'd eat two of them every evening, and people are like, "How do you eat all those carbs and still stay?"
yeah, exactly.
I'm like, it doesn't matter about the carbs. I know it's crazy. We've been told, I mean, you have to obviously everything in moderation. If I had ate, 30 potatoes, I'm sure I would have
Oh
gained
yeah, yeah, of course.
weight.
And plus, you have to eat a variety of foods.
Hmm.
Although I do have to give a shout out to one of my friends. His name escapes me now. I don't know why. From Australia, he ate nothing but potatoes, and he lost a tremendous amount of weight on his potato diet. If you want to Google him,
Oh,
Wow, I
definitely.
have to do that.
I
yeah.
think a lot of things when people lose a lot of weight, it's about what they're taking out. Even if they're going on one, particular mono food. I know I do a lot of that now in what I'm doing, like this new, well, I did it for 6 months before, but this is my new raw journey. I do a lot of one meal at a time or one food at a time especially for lunches. And I find it doesn't make me as tired, and it really
Yeah,
does help your digestion because,
it
you know,
does. Yeah.
a couple of because your body doesn't have to like decide, okay, I need this to dissolve this and this, acid for this food. There, it's just kind of I think making things easy on our body is what all
Yeah,
of this is about. And like people make it so hard, and this is what we live in, you know what I mean? This is what starts everything. Like when we
exactly.
wake up not feeling good makes us not good for other people, makes us not good for our job, makes us not good for ourselves. And so like the focus that we put on our house, or things that are animate objects and not on our own body, is what I'm trying to help people reconnect with, to
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
be nice
Totally
to
agree.
yourself, right? That
Totally agree.
includes a lot of things like working out and meditation, and I'm trying to get better with that. I've done like 2 3 days consistently now. I think your posts have inspired me. When I see you at the
Oh,
gym,
thank you.
I'm like, do you mind if I ask a couple of these questions we had
Oh,
from
sure, absolutely.
let's see. I know Tessa had oh, were you the only vegan in your family? I guess previous now to your mom.
Yeah, yeah, she is now. But still, it's only us two. My dad, he has a ton of health problems. Unfortunately, he was diagnosed with giant cell arteritis. I don't know if either of you heard of that. It's it's a severe form of, I guess, inflammation of the arteries. So it causes headaches and feeling flu-like symptoms for several hours a day. So he has to go on steroids for that. And I told him he should try a plant-based diet just to see how he feels. And sadly, he's one of those people who absolutely refuses.
I've been doing things this way. I'm going to keep
Yeah,
doing it.
and
And I think people that's a very difficult thing to change habits,
it
especially
is.
when you're in the older years, because it's like I don't think we even buy in, even when you hear other people's stories at first, that
Exactly.
your diet can literally change those things. Like I think it's Neil Bernard talks about, he's reversed people's heart disease
Yep.
after they were completely clogged, So it's difficult to watch people you love not, you know,
It
take
is.
that move.
And
Um,
I've sent books to my dad and my stepmom. He got remarried, and she is also on a lot of meds, and neither one of them are willing to change. They'll still say things like, "Oh, you're still doing that vegan thing," like like it's not a lifestyle change, and they just never accepted it.
Still
yeah.
selling them warranties?
What's that?
She's making fun of something
Oh,
people used to say to me.
oh yeah,
People always do that. You still doing that vegan thing? You still
yeah,
selling that?
exactly. Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't get it. Yeah,
It's like a
and
job that you're doing, right? They think it's a fad, right? And I think that's what it becomes. And I don't know if you've gotten to this point too, but I started it as a diet, and then from being in the vegan groups and things, I started to see what really goes on with our food
yeah,
industry, with animals, and it kind of became a thing where I wouldn't even want to eat that on a cheat day. It's like,
yeah.
I don't even want to deal
Is
with
the gentleman's name Andrew Taylor?
Andrew, it's not Taylor. Oh,
Flinders?
yeah, it might be
Flinders Taylor?
Taylor. It might be Taylor. Yeah, it is Andrew.
Flinders or okay.
Yeah,
Tessa.
Is
Oh,
this
sorry.
him?
yeah, that's him.
That's the
All
potato guy.
potatoes. Yes.
Nice. Not
Yeah,
definitely
Unbelievable.
my best recommendation, but whatever works, right?
yeah.
I Tessa
And
wanted to know, how did you stop feeling addicted to food? Was it like, for me, it was just eating all the good stuff. Finally, my body started craving that. So I don't know how it worked
yeah,
for you. Did it
for
take a
me,
while?
I think I didn't realize it until I started to eat the healthy foods, but I must have been actually sick of the food. I think I was getting tired of it. I
That
ate so
happens.
many bad foods, and like probably close to 10,000 calories a day when I figured it out once. When I was, after I was on this plan, I thought, I wonder how many calories I ate. And, some days are getting 10,000 calories. And I think I just realized that I didn't like the taste of the food. I was only doing it just for the addiction of it. And I did notice that I think the most pleasurable people get out of the food is after the first bite. I think, after the first couple bites, it wears off. So I think that's true with anything. So, yeah, I think I was just tired of it, really. I didn't even realize it till I was eating healthy food.
It gets to that point. It
Yeah.
really does. It's like I tried smoking for a few years and initially I got it, but then after a while I was tired of sitting in a cloud of smoke and immediately dumped the habit after 6 years.
Yeah. Good for you.
So, yeah. Yeah.
I think that it's funny too, because food starts to have a different taste. Speaking of smoking, I quit a long time ago in 2010.
Yep.
Like, but even when you smell smoke after you've been a smoker, it's like it smells differently. And I when I go on whole, like now that I'm eating whole processed foods, we got some sushi the other day, and I got sushi without the rice on it, like some veggie rolls, and I dipped it in the soy sauce, and since I haven't been eating any processed food,
Mhm.
like even making my own dressings, it had this weird kind of taste to it. Like I could tell that it was kind of like whatever it had in it maybe was like processed, and it almost is
Yeah. Is
when
that
you even
something?
when I go raw and eat cooked food, something about it tastes weird. Like it's your tastes literally do change to what you're eating. Like you crave the freshness. It's hard to believe until you do it, literally.
Yeah.
Exactly. I never would have believed I would have been like this. Yeah. And
Like, 10 years ago, I would have looked at me like I was crazy telling me to stop eating what I'd been eating every day? And
yeah.
like you said about the calories, I used to think, we used to, remember when we were talking about selling warranties where we actually met at, me and Dawn, we used to go to lunch and get like Burger King. and
Yep.
eat like all that for lunch. I would have already had a breakfast sandwich on the way to work
Oh,
from
I know. I
McDonald's.
know.
And then, like, even later on, I'd be like, oh, I got to get some chips out of the thing. I'm getting tired. I got to get a Hershey bar. And then I'd like end up eating a big Chinese food, all takeout. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like if I looked in comparison, like, no wonder I was 185 pounds. Like,
I
Oh
was
my God, I'm
eating
not the
I was
only
eating
one.
all I was eating all fruit a couple weeks ago and made the mistake of ordering a Burger King Impossible Whopper meal and have been hooked on it ever since.
It's addictive. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm still vegan, but the junk
Yeah.
food vegan thing's got to stop,
Mm. All this talk about
congratulations.
Burger King actually brought back memories for me because I used to stop at McDonald's before work, and I
Yeah.
remember getting 4 Egg McMuffins with cheese
Wow.
and
Nice.
bacon. It was really out of control. I couldn't go to work until I had that, and it just brought back those memories.
And it's like, and you don't, I think people don't realize how bad they feel until you wake up like
Yeah,
this, and you wake up when you're eating, healthy. And you mentioned like you do beans and rice,
yep,
and like that's pretty filling stuff
it
too,
is.
especially a lot of I think that's people's biggest concern is I won't be full on a diet.
Yep. And I never felt good, especially back in 2011. Before I lost the weight,
Yeah.
I always had different conditions like I'm tired all the time. But, I used to have heartburn, and I think when I went plant based, I can eat any spicy food now, and nothing causes the heartburn anymore. And I
That's
was even
awesome.
in the ER several years ago for heartburn. It got so bad sometimes, and never again since going plant based.
I used to think the same thing, that it was spicy food or tomato sauce.
Yep.
And then I realized later on that, from what I've kind of done research on it, our body has a certain acidity level that we're designed with. And we're not literally, like, our system is not set up with like a carnivore's acidic level to be able to kind of dissolve the meat or digest it properly.
Right.
And I think that's what's causing a lot of it. And the things that we don't even realize, and we blame it on the next thing, not the core thing. It's like,
Yeah.
oh wait, it wasn't, because I'm the same way. I can eat all these crazy dressings, especially that I'm coming up with now, without heartburn. So
Yep.
I'm like, it had to have been that. Congratulations, Diesel Dan. Thanks for sharing that. He said he gave up 30 years of smoking back in 2011. That's great.
Yeah.
All right,
I
Diesel.
was
Way to go, honey.
I was
Oh,
I
go
was
ahead.
a lifelong non-smoker, but again, a shout out to my mom because I never put it together, but she must have been able to make changes because of my parents. She quit smoking back in the '80s, and it was again because of her kids' encouragement, and so I guess she listened to us kids.
That's
So
Yeah,
great.
that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, I didn't start smoking until I was 30. My mom said you waited all your life and then you start smoking at 30. And I was going through kind of like a midlife change right there
yeah.
and picked up smoking. But yeah, at 36, I said, yeah, enough of that. And the funny thing is, I had the colon cancer at 34. So within that time,
Oh,
I
that
had,
is great. Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
was smoking. So that was one of the things that after 2 years later, I decided to give that up. I just got, like you did, I got tired of it.
Well, we're
Just
blessed
it
that
wasn't
you
appealing anymore.
overcome cancer and quit a lot of your addiction. So sometimes the worst thing you're doing now is an Impossible Whopper. You're doing a heck of a lot
And
better.
Definitely.
I've had no meat in years. You know what I mean? I've
How
been
long's it been for you?
since 2021 is when I quit. No, 2020, I believe, is when I
Okay.
stopped eating meat, like March of 2020. And I actually stopped. I called myself a vegan, but I was actually a vegetarian because the one thing that I couldn't give up was pizza. I gave up everything else, eggs, regular milk, all of that, and pizza and I was never a big cheese eater, but for some reason, pizza was
I
always my
love
arch
pizza too.
nemesis.
Yep.
And last year, last August, I decided to finally go full throttle and give up the pizza. And I've been great. Speaking of the heartburn, I was getting heartburn.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm a vegan or I'm a vegetarian. Why am I gonna? I gave up the pizza, the heartburn stopped.
I believe it. Yep. The dairy.
You know,
How
yeah,
long has it
yeah.
been for you? Because I thought you may have been doing this longer too, and I heard you say a couple of years ago with the heartburn. So how long have you been on this journey? I think you
Oh, you
mentioned
mean me?
yes.
Um, yeah, I've it's different stages. So 2012 is when I gave up the red meat. I was more and more plant-based over the next few years. I was still eating minimal turkey or yogurt. And then in 2016, I got to give a shout out to my friend Robert Cheek. I don't know if either of you heard of him. He's a vegan bodybuilder. I was
Okay.
trying to put on muscle because I had some loose skin problems in my arms and my belly. Um, and Robert Cheek, he's a vegan bodybuilder. If you look him up, he's amazing. He has huge muscles, and
You
you
know,
never,
I've got to do it right.
yeah, yeah, you should. And
Robert Cheek.
That's why she's the producer, and
yeah,
good
oh,
job with that pizza, Dawn.
CHEEKE. And yeah, I bought his a vegan bodybuilding book, and he had a journal, a 13 week workout journal. And I thought I'm gonna do a fully vegan muscle building challenge for 13 weeks. And I noticed I was working out harder during this transition. And it was always in the back of my mind that after 13 weeks, I'll go back to my old ways. Never did. That did it for me. I realized how good I felt. And really, it was his work that helped inspire me to go fully 100% vegan. So ever since September 6th, I remember that date, 2016, I have been 100% vegan as far as I know, unless somebody snuck in something I didn't know about.
Right. That is great. That is good. That okay. So
I
20.
even remember my last meal because I was doing this um, last meal before I uh, went into the 13-week journey, and I was eating out at a restaurant with some friends, and I had chicken cacciatore. That was my last meal. That was the last thing I ever had of animal-based foods,
Wow.
and that was it. And
That's
I've never craved it since. And here I am.
that is truly a blessing. All the things that you overcame, and even impressed your doctor, right? Like he was,
Yeah.
that's always cool. And I actually was watching a lady on YouTube. I don't remember her name. I'll have to look it up and maybe share her story. But one of her patients inspired her to make her and her whole family plant based because she couldn't believe the results. Like they came to her like for their next checkup and had reversed all kinds of things. And her and the daughter, apparently her patient and the daughter went on this, and even the child reversed their acne. And she was like, okay, I got to look more into this,
Oh,
like what's
nice,
going
nice.
on, because a lot of medical doctors know a lot about the body and like medication, but they don't realize sometimes the impact certain diets can have. So I
Yeah,
love that she taught her,
yeah,
like it was wild, like how this person inspired you to just give it a try. And
yeah,
that's why
exactly.
there's so many challenges out, and like
And
why I'm always
challenges
like,
work too.
just
Yeah,
try it for a couple of weeks, try it for a couple of weeks or a month, and see
yeah.
what you feel. Don't
Neil
believe us.
Neil Barnard says he has a 21-day challenge, and he tells people try it for 21 days, fully vegan. And most of the people who try it, they never want to go back after the 3 weeks. It just takes 2 to 3 weeks, and you lose the cravings.
And develop habits, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I do have to say, you were talking about doctors. That first doctor I had who was amazed, he had since retired. I think he retired in like 2014. So I got another doctor. And although he was amazed at my transformation, he wasn't on board with plant based. And I remember one of his comments one time. He says, "You don't even eat eggs or fish." And I figured it was time for a new doctor. So since then, I researched and got a fully plant-based doctor. I wanted somebody who was on board and
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't look back. I just got a new doctor, and I'm happy.
That's great. Yeah, because if you don't have someone, especially that had an open mind,
You
especially
have to
with
be
everything you
with
changed.
somebody who's on board, you know.
Yeah, it's tough. It's difficult. We have enough people pushing us, and enough things surrounding us. That's why I love online, platforms like this, and talking with other people and trying to bring this message in a positive way, because a lot of times we're kind of, everybody around us is usually saying, you need this, you need meat, and a
Yeah.
lot of myths out there. And that's just what everybody was taught. That's what I thought up until 2019, when I started this. So it hasn't been that long, for
So-
me. And Diesel Dan said, nice work, congratulations, Richard.
oh, thank you.
I
And
found Robert Cheek.
oh, great.
Good
Yeah,
job.
show the audience that.
Vegan since 2019. Good job.
And it is amazing when you pull it up.
Look at this guy.
Can you tell that he's 100% vegan?
Definitely people would
That's
not think that.
insane.
They'd be like, that guy eats probably a lot of meat.
And he still gets hate today, which I feel bad. But he shares his social media, and some guy accuses him of having steroids, and
Look
yeah,
at the muscle definition there. That's crazy.
He's got
yeah,
more definition than a dictionary.
yeah.
Jeff Palmer, you know him, right? He's got
Oh
a
yeah,
similar
yeah. He's
picture, and
another friend of mine. Yeah,
he's great. He's another bodybuilder. So guys, if you want to look like that, let's get vegan.
yeah. And it's still my goal. I do want bigger muscle. I mean, just more definition. You know.
I created you a lower third too.
And the thing is, with me, remember I told you back in 2016 that Robert Cheek, I turned to him because I wanted to tighten my skin. It worked a lot of areas of my body. The only area it didn't work was my belly. And I'm very open about
That's
this.
the hardest.
Yeah, I told people for years, if it's been 5 years and the belly still didn't tighten, that I would do a tummy tuck. And I did my research and finally did one in 2018. It's just because that for me is like holding on to this obesity. It really, I didn't feel comfortable with it, and it was itchy at times. I wasn't happy with what I saw in the mirror. So I saved up for that 5 years, and it really is one of the best decisions I made. I have no regrets doing it. I had regrets at the time because I had to wear these pumps on the side, these drains.
Oh wow!
And it burned the skin, but it ended up being worth it in the long run. But.
Well, that's good. I think that if you did it for yourself to feel good, then that's important. A lot of people do these different things for others, but when we want to look good when we look in the mirror, and it's definitely something that you've done all this work and you want to make it, to where you want to be. And I think not everybody needs like big, muscles. We don't need to be bodybuilders. I think we just want to be comfortable. And I think you have made amazing transformation there. So you've done wonderful. Oh, Tesla said she doesn't even bother telling the doctor she's vegan.
Yeah.
And Dan said that guy's in awesome shape. Yes, nice work. Oh, I read that one.
Yeah, because think about it, it goes against the grain of really, and not all doctors are like this, but it goes against the grain of what they need to thrive in a practice. If no one's sick or if everybody's in shape, then what are they going to do?
Well, yeah, I know what he means, but at the same time, I tell everybody, it's never like this, prior to going vegan. But I wear shirts at the gym that announce I'm vegan. I want everybody to know because I want people to hear my story.
Yeah.
So I never.
I got my vegan shirt on. I wear it to the store just so people will ask me.
I do the same. I don't ever want to shy away from it. In fact, the dentist I told you about removed my mercury. I told him just because he wanted to know about my journey, and he said something that really annoyed me. So I ended up dropping him as well.
What did he say?
He said to me, because I told him I was proud of my cholesterol, because I'm at 129 total cholesterol.
Oh, nice.
Which I think is great. And he said to me, which it still annoys me to this day, he says, having a low cholesterol like that increase your risk of cancer. And I thought, nope, never
How
again.
ridiculous is
What
that?
in the world?
Low cholesterol causes cancer.
That's what he loved.
There's a lot of weird stuff
Yeah,
that people say that is so. It's like there's science out there, and if you study the science, that's the easiest way. Like, where are they getting this information?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
one more question here, or I guess another question, I should
Sure.
say. He said, Diesel Dan said, can you ask Richard what pomegranate juice brand does he choose, or is it just any for his diet and blood pressure?
Yeah, in 2012, I was drinking I think that's the name of it, POM. But since then, I just started to eat the fruit. They sell it prepackaged too, with the seeds already out of the fruit. So you could just buy the package and it's easy. But I don't think it takes that much time anyway to take the seeds out of the pomegranate. So I just prefer to eat the fruit itself.
Wow.
I think that's where we get like I think I love to have some juice sometimes too, and maybe like we were just talking about doing celery juice because that's really hard to digest, so like it opens up like the minerals. But for the most part, we were just listening to we had Dr. Doug Graham, and he talks about how important having the fiber, because the fiber actually can slow down the fructose intake. So it like all works together like synergistically. Is that a word? I couldn't believe it actually came out right. Apparently. So sometimes I like eating all the whole fruits and stuff too.
Do you have any fruit in particular that you enjoy more than others, or?
Well, I mentioned pomegranate, but I love strawberries still. Even as a kid, I loved them. But today, I have them every day. I know it's out of season, but I always try to buy organic, especially for strawberries. Blueberries, I love blueberries.
I love blueberries too.
Watermelon.
Me too. I love watermelon.
I know we do a lot of watermelon, right?
Red grapes,
mangoes.
Grapes. I love grapes. Bananas. I do have bananas after a workout sometimes. I always add to my smoothie. So I have a lot of fruit every day. Probably too much in the average person's mind, but I'm still diabetic free, so
exactly
that's not caused by the fruit. So
definitely
that's a big myth too, right? That
you know what else I like is guava. I started to eat guava a couple years ago, and I'm like addicted to that too now.
I've never tried guava. Have you, Dawn?
No, never tried it.
Another fruit I recommend. Yeah.
Cool. I
know we bought a papaya once, and we were going to try to delve into that. I think some more of the tropical fruits, I guess when they get in season, will be cool. Guava, papaya, the mangoes.
Yeah, I never got big into papaya. I mean, I've had it. For some reason, it wasn't one of my favorites. I mean, it's good, but it's not my go-to fruit.
Yeah.
Tessa never tried guava either. Yeah, I'm like, now you got me curious about it. Is it like a sweeter fruit, or is it like kind of sour?
It's more like an apple, I guess.
Okay.
Cool.
And I love apples too.
I love Granny Smith apples. I don't eat the red apples as much as I eat the Granny Smith. I love the Granny Smith. I like the little sour thing that it has going on.
Well, you know what's like that also is Honeycrisp. It's sort of a reddish apple, but it tastes, it's more toward the Granny Smith side, even though it's red. So yeah, if you find Honeycrisp.
I'll write it down. Thank you.
Yep.
Cool. I'm like excited now to eat fruit for lunch.
Well, I hope people don't ever avoid fruit. I mean, I think it gets a bad rep just because it has sugar in it, but it's the healthy sugar.
Right. That's just like avocado being a healthy fat,
Yeah, exactly. And I do have avocado every day too in my salad, just to have one.
I love it. And I'm always chasing soft avocados.
And I know they say, to be careful with fats, and I do try to be careful, but I love nuts and seeds. Dr. Furman encourages nuts and seeds just in small amounts. And I try not to overdo it, but I do love nuts and seeds as well. I think there's a lot of benefits to them. So if you can, it's tough to be in control, but I am in control of how much I eat of them. If you can control it, I do recommend to eat those every day.
I think especially when you first be like, beginning this and you want to feel that you're full because you're going from eating all of this food to, eating a different kind of food. So sometimes I find the healthy fats are definitely, necessary. So if you want to have a smoothie with some nuts in it, it definitely adds like a little bit of, I guess, a little more texture or whatever you're looking for. It
Right,
sort of satisfies you, I think. And it's a protein, like you said, too, right?
right, right. And I wanted to ask you about the raw diet you're doing now. 'Cause I did a raw challenge a couple years ago. Do you allow yourself? Do you have to eat raw nuts when you do it, or how do you? What does a typical day for a raw diet look like?
So it's like yesterday, for example, usually I have fruit mostly for lunch, but yesterday we ordered that sushi I was telling you. Like
Yeah,
I ordered a avocado roll without rice, and then I had like after that I had like a half a cantaloupe, and I don't remember if I had a couple of grapes or anything like that. Um, and I'm trying to think. I probably had some kind of other fruit snack at some point. So usually I try to do mostly fruit like throughout the day whenever I get hungry. And then in the evening, that's when I eat most of my food because I was used to
yeah,
fasting all day. So I've
right.
had to kind of change my eating habit. And like now I start getting hungry around 2 because
Oh,
that's
you're the same as me. Yeah,
gotten my body used to now finally,
yeah,
because I was like at one point I would just not eat all day, especially when I was doing whole food plant-based, and then I'd just kill it with lots of rice and beans and different and a big salad, like you. But now I have a salad that I've kind of I have lettuce, I have like probably 3 avocados, talking about limiting fat, but I'm not eating fat all day. So
right,
I'll
right.
have like 3 avocados, I have a couple of olives, and then I have what else? Sprouts. I do mung bean sprouts, and
Oh, I
sometimes.
love sprouts.
Yes, they are so good. They're like add a crunch to your salad too. Like if you were used to eating like croutons or you're looking for like texture. And then I also put a lot of cucumbers, like probably like a whole cucumber in there. And I do a lot of tomatoes. And right now I'm
I
doing those
love
little
tomatoes.
cherry tomatoes, but I can do like the whole salad is kind of like a fruit salad if you think about it, because the only thing
Yeah,
of
tomatoes are fruit too. So,
right. Cucumbers, avocados, tomatoes, technically, like botanically, I guess most people look at them as vegetables. And then I think, whatever I kind of, maybe some snow peas I'll put in there.
yeah.
Um, and then I do like, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Sometimes I just have other stuff that I'll throw in, but it's always like raw veggies or fruit. And then I do a banana. Like now I'm hooked on this banana and walnut smoothie. So
Yeah.
I take like, and then I tried, even last night I threw a couple of cashews and tried it.
I never tried that in my smoothie. I got it. You gave me
The
ideas now.
the
The
bananas,
walnuts. Yeah.
if you put them in like the food processor with the bananas, and then I put it in the freezer and I'll like chill it, so it kind of gives me that ice cream effect.
Oh, you gave me some ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. And I had what I struggle with on the diet right now is actually like eating enough, because it's difficult when, for me
Yeah.
anyway, not being a constant eater. Like some people like to munch out, and I've just gotten used to being busy throughout the day, and I don't really think about eating a lot. So I've been trying to increase my calories, to
Yeah.
eat enough, because I lost, probably I've been on, this is my, I'll be 3 months on the 10th of October, and I'm literally like probably lost weight, and I was already where I wanted to be at weight. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I love it because I feel a lot of energy. I feel like my skin,
Oh, yeah.
I just feel a lot better when I'm raw, but I also need to make sure I have a certain weight. Like you said, when I look in the mirror, I feel comfortable. And then that's what got me started working out, because someone said, well, if you're working out, that's going to help you build muscle and
Yeah.
feel like you're looking your best, even if you lost a little bit of weight initially. So I've been trying to get on there and do an hour every day, like regardless of
Yeah.
what what I've got going on. Last night it ended up happening at like 6:30 at night or 6 at night, but I'm like, oh well, I got it
Yeah,
in.
you still do it. Yep.
Do
And
you work out
talking,
in the morning or in the evening?
and midday, I guess. Well, sometimes during lunch break at work, or walk around the block, or hit the gym after work. Uh, on the weekends, I typically go in the afternoon. I've never been a morning workout person. I'd like to be, but not me.
Yeah, I know, me too. I did it for a little while and I'm like I did feel good and motivated for my day, but now when I get up I'm just kind of I work from home so it's a little difficult. I'm not really trying to squeeze it in, on the way to work. So it's kind of like I think, "Oh, I got it right here. I can do it on my lunch or I can do it." And then
Yep.
it just kind of you put it off, but I'm going to try to get on a routine. Oh, hold on, Don. You were muted. Go ahead. We didn't hear you.
I was saying if I don't get get it in the morning, it doesn't. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Everybody's
It
different.
doesn't
Yeah,
happen.
I
Yeah,
get
I'm
that. Yeah,
actually the opposite.
yeah. I wished I was like that actually, because then I get it over with during before my work day. But everybody's different though.
That's amazing. And so when you saw the doctor and decided to do this, you lost 150 pounds. How long did that take to do that amount of
well,
weight? And
well, the first 120 was that first year. The next 30, I think, was gradual over the next few years. I would say probably by 2015 or so, I was at 150 pounds lost, and I've been maintaining ever since.
that's
I'll still get comments from people which drive me crazy once in a while. They'll say, "Oh, don't get too skinny," or "Oh, haven't you lost enough? You're losing more weight." And what's funny? I stopped weighing myself, and I weighed myself the other day. I'm still the same weight range. And yet people, they'll always be concerned, thinking that I'm losing too much weight. And I'm exactly the same as I was, 6 months ago, a year ago. Um, same weight range, maybe a pound or two down or up, but there's always that same range. And I'm not obsessed with the number. And yet, there are people who look at you, if they know your story. Some people will be overly critical and say, "Oh, you're getting too skinny,"
yeah.
even though it's
Jen went through
not
that
true.
initially when she lost her weight a lot from family members.
Yeah,
It's funny. Everybody has a certain image because technically we're all a little bit overweight in this world, like
yeah,
most of us, coming in. And that's what people get used to seeing. And also, I was thinking too, like, if you look like truly look at animals, like wild animals, they know how to eat till they're full. And there are no
yep,
overweight animals in
exactly.
and like in the wild. Obviously our
Right.
cats we can overfeed them and
Yep.
things, but however, like in the wild, if you think about it, there's no like, oh, that doesn't that lion is gaining too much weight
Yeah,
or
exactly.
whatever, right? Like,
Yep.
so I think people have this image of how we're supposed to look, and they don't realize that we're in the best shape of our life when we're thin,
Exactly.
and they want you to look like they want you to look, I think
And
sometimes.
if you think about it, 70% of the population is overweight. So how is it that we're going to look normal with 70% overweight?
That's true. Yeah. And it's like it's important for us, and I love the way you kind of have shut off criticism and not let that affect you, because so
Oh
much of
yeah,
it can get in.
you
So
can't.
leaving the doctor, like we can't run from every situation, but ones that we choose, like we choose who we want to pay to for our health care.
Yep.
So choosing that was great, because you want to surround yourself with people. That's why I'm in a lot of the vegan groups, and me and Dawn, have a lot of online friends who are vegan, because in our regular life we don't have that. So it's
Yeah, it
good.
really helps. It
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
And speak and hear other people's ideas, because like you said, sometimes you may tell me something like the doctor that asked you don't eat fish, he also doesn't know that they have heavy metals, and
Yeah,
you're trying to
exactly.
detoxify the heavy metals from your body, and he's like, oh, let's put more in, right?
Yep.
So everybody's not, I guess everybody has their own opinion, and like you said, like what I try to do is when I hear something, and you sound like this kind of person too, you go online and research it, but I never look at one study or one doctor or one person. You have to like get all this information and then kind of like put it all together and say, okay, what makes sense to me? And
Right.
now, like for me, the things that are logical are what makes sense. If I see that our body's designed like this, and I see all these people healing from this,
Mhm.
and I know the fat causes this, I'm like, okay, it just makes sense to eliminate the fat, you know. And
Yeah.
there's the reason I wanted to have you on too. And I've had lots of other people over the time, but sometimes when I'm focused on something, I get focused on raw, and I'm like, oh, I want to talk to this raw
Yeah.
vegan, and you know, and it's like, but I want to let people know that there's so many different ways to be healthy, and I've kind of went through all of the
Yeah.
phases. You know, the only one that wasn't good for me was when I kind of got a little bit overly overdid the processed food with the vegan burgers and things like that.
It's easy to do. They're all addictive. All
Yeah.
processed
And
food.
so it's like they're all kept me healthy though. I always felt good. It's like, and then how do you feel your best or what fits for you? Like if you need more, feel like you need more carbs, then maybe that's the right thing for you. Like what you're doing with the oats in the morning and, you know, feeling, you know, your best and healthy with that whole food plant based because it's so important to eat whole foods, whether they're raw
Oh,
or
totally
not.
agree.
You know,
Yep.
I just love the way I feel with it, but I think there's so many ways. Look how well you're doing with your whole food plant based, you
Yeah.
know?
And that's why I think it's important to listen to all plant-based doctors. Dr. Furman opened my eyes, but you have to be willing to hear all their advice because each one is so different. Like Dr. McDougall, he's more toward starches. He would not agree with having fat at all in your diet. But then there's Dr. Furman, who is okay with a little fat. And there's Dr. Greger, who's kind of in between both of them. You have to find what you'll be able to stick with, I guess, and what makes you feel good. If
Yeah.
you're not feeling good on Dr. McDougall's plan, then maybe Dr. Furman's plan will work better for you. Or
Or
do a
the little
combination.
reach, right? You're right. That's what I was gonna
Because
say.
everybody's body is different.
You do a
Exactly.
So
lot
there's
of
something for everybody.
Yeah.
I notice you do the big salad every day too. So it's like you get a lot of nutrients in raw food, you know,
Yeah.
and you get your little bit of fat. So it sounds like you've found a balance of everything that you need to put in your body to make it healthy. So
And then I do have a lot of raw foods a day. I mean, my salads are huge and they're all raw in there. And
and you do
well,
the G bombs, so you got everything going in there. You got like a, what do you call it? A plethora of nutrients coming in.
exactly.
So
Eat the
for the
rainbow.
audience, tell us what the G bombs are.
Yep, greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds.
There you go.
Yep,
That's the alphabet for vegans, right?
yep. And then there's also Dr. Greger's Dirty Dozen, not Dirty Dozen, that's something else, but his Daily Dozen.
I know what you mean.
There's all these acronyms. But the
Right.
Dirty Dozen, I do follow that too for the organic foods. I make sure that I get organic for those certain foods that are on the list every year, like strawberries,
What is the
blueberries.
like? I always get confused, and I should know this, and I do buy the organic when I can. But I'm like, what does organic really mean? Is it the pesticides that are on it?
Yeah. There's fewer pesticides. There's certain dangerous ones that they're not allowed to use, and I think legally they're not supposed to be genetically modified. Um, so there's a lot of good reasons to eat it.
That makes
Um,
a lot of sense. I mean, a lot of people are saying like that, you know, you really need to buy organic, and so I really want to try to make a push for that. It's like sometimes the stores only offer such limited things where we are
mm,
in the organic version.
well,
So it's
I don't know if you have an Aldi's near you. They're growing in the U.S. The reason
we
I'm
do.
bringing up Aldi's is they have organic food and um, I mean an organic section, and their organic food is comparable to conventional food in other grocery stores. Like organic strawberries, you can buy a container for like $3.49 there.
That's good.
Um, in the regular grocery stores, they're $5.99 for organic. So I try to shop at Aldi's, and it saves a lot of money if you do having all these close to you. Not to mention brand names in stores, but there are ways to save money. So.
Dan wants to know if your energy level, how it is now, and do you feel it has improved greatly since?
Oh my God, yeah. I never used to run before I became vegan. And
cool.
I've done 3 half marathons since.
Wow.
I joined a run club in 2018 or 2017. They're called the Mationz Run Club. And it's a great name for people my age in their 40s and 50s, and they lose an incredible amount of weight, and they're all plant-based. So that motivated me to do some half marathons.
Wow, congratulations.
I had a knee injury, so it kind of sidetracked my ambition. I still want to do a marathon one of these days, but I want to get my knee a little bit more stable before I get back into it again.
Yeah.
I had
you know what that's like, right? With the knee thing.
Yeah, I'm dealing with a knee injury right now.
Yeah, I had a college injury, and it didn't show up until I started to run.
Yeah.
My kneecap kind of moves around too much.
That's exactly what's going on with my right knee.
Are you getting swelling too? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. I have the chronic swelling, and it's finally to the point where it hasn't swelled now in maybe 6 months or so. So I think it's finally on the mend.
Okay, that's me too. I was just telling Jen I'm not noticing the swelling as much, but I'm still noticing the moving around a little bit.
Yep.
So I'm not sure if I did it working out or what happened there, or I hyperextended it.
3 years ago, like me too. You never know.
Yeah.
It could show up again.
Yeah.
Are you doing physical therapy?
You know what? I haven't worked out in a couple months, and I thought maybe that might have been contributing to, because I was also doing yoga. So I haven't really been doing anything. But this morning I got on the bike for a little bit, and it felt good. I stretched it out because it wasn't swollen. So I think I'm going to start getting back into my workout slowly and getting.
You just need to listen to your body.
Yeah.
I think I started to run too fast last year, and it started to swell again. So I want to, build up again before I get fully back into it.
Yeah.
I'm doing the stair stepper a lot. I do the treadmill. There's so many ways to keep active if you're not running. So
yeah.
And
I get 10,000 steps every day. My Apple Watch.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, one of those. Cool.
I never go a day without getting my steps in.
That's great. And I think that's what this does for you. The food is the basis for being able to have the energy to do those things. And because I went years on this, and not working out consistently or even wanting to. And it kind of gives you that energy to want to do other things. It's like it makes even your mind feels more focused. I know it sounds funny that the food could have that much to do with it, because a lot of people just look at it like, I'm hungry, I'm just going to put something in, but we don't realize what we're putting in affects our mind, our body, our energy, our hormones, especially for
absolutely
women. And Dan said, oh, that's great, Dan. If you want personalized help, I can sit down with you guys and make a meal plan that would work within yours. He said that him and his wife are in their 50s, and they're at the point where they're looking to make a change and gain energy to keep up with the grandchildren. We're pretty healthy, but there's room for improvement, and he's thinking this is the way to achieve our goals. I'd be really proud to hear how that would work out. And 50s is that turning point where a lot of health issues, even that we don't even realize are coming, start happening. That's why I'm glad I got a jump start on this. So if you can
I was still in my late 30s. I was starting to get when the physical happened. So, I was severely obese, so I'm a different story. But yeah, who knows when they'll show up? But it's better to make the healthy change before you get all these problems.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And not have to reverse things. You hit it right at the point. It sounds like, thank goodness you went to save money and found out all that stuff coming, right? Because exactly. You would have went longer and then had to then get off the medication. So that's the.
Well, I have to wonder what would have happened if I never had that physical. Would I have even made any changes in my life?
Yeah.
Would you even still be here?
Yeah. Good
I
It's
point.
pretty
know.
scary when you think about it.
And
Exactly.
some things
Exactly.
we live with, like maybe low energy, and like me, I had chronic back pain. I had allergies. I was, would get sick a couple times a year, whether it
Yep.
be really
Oh
bad
yeah. Yep.
bronchial. I have not, and I saw your post and I commented on it that since I went plant based, I have not had in 30 days. I had the back pain was gone. I had no more allergies, no more colds. I haven't been sick. And
Isn't that amazing?
yeah,
And I used to get colds that would last for a couple weeks. I was suffering with them. I mean, I probably had to the point of pneumonia. It was coughing so bad years ago. I remember it was only in my 20s, and these colds would just be so severe. And I wrote on Facebook a few weeks ago. I was feeling run down for a day. I had a sore throat. It wasn't that bad. I got through the day, but next day I felt 100% better. And I would never be like that years ago.
Your immune system, because you've been feeding it well, kicked in and did what it was supposed to do when you got rest overnight.
Yep. And
That's
you know
when the
what
body
else?
repairs.
Yeah, and the knee. My
Mhm.
orthopedist told me I should have been in severe pain with the way my knee was. But all I was dealing, I mean, swelling's bad enough, but I wasn't dealing with the pain that he said I should be in. And
Yeah.
I told him about my diet, and he attributed it to the diet as well because it's anti-inflammatory. So I'm grateful for that because so many people, they have to have knee replacements or hip replacements, and all it takes is to get rid of the inflammation, and I think a lot of people can avoid those problems later in life.
yeah,
Definitely.
definitely. The inflammation is a big thing. I guarantee that's probably what I was doing to myself was I was probably overly inflamed having a, Outback steak every night,
Oh
or
yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah.
I thought I was doing good having I would get the salad and then I would get all this pile of chicken and beef on top, right? And all kinds of stuff. I'm like, yeah, but I got the salad bowl, It's like, yeah, put it on
Right.
sour cream, clunk, clunk, like
Yeah.
so it's sometimes we can make ourselves like think even when I used to have a salad, I realized the amount of ranch that I put on it. And like if you eat processed food, they have like vegan versions and even versions you can make that taste really good. I've not turned into this vegan chef yet, but I'm working on it. But like Hidden Valley even makes vegan ranch. If you need something like that, if you're having people over and you want to keep it plant based, sometimes those things can come in handy to have just for to let people try it to show that if you have a taste for
They
something, you
exist.
have
Yeah.
it. They exist. If you need that,
And,
you
and the
need
goal is to not be perfect. I mean, you try to be as healthy as you can, but I'll give you an example. My boss was having a Christmas party, and I didn't want to refuse because she went out of her way to have some vegan food for me. So, it had some oil in it that I avoid and, different things like that. But it was 100% vegan. So I'm not going to refuse it because, she went out of her way for that.
yeah.
I would refuse
That was
food that's
cool.
vegan, but, just because somebody went out of their way, you know, I think, as long as you get back on the bandwagon, I think you're good. Just to make sure that 98% of the time you're compliant. If somebody offers you a vegan junk food once in a while, I don't think there would be any harm in that.
Yeah.
I think it's what you just said 90% of the time, because if you look at anything, like if you eat terrible standard American diet and are eating lots of things that you shouldn't for, let's say, every day, and then one evening you decide I'm going to eat a salad or I'm going to eat healthy, that's not going to change much. So
Exactly.
do the other way, then that's also not going to change much if you have a vegan cookie one day when you
Right. Right.
healthy, so I'm kind of like on the way that I know I am and we know ourselves. So like I stay completely on the whole foods when I'm on them, or at least I try to,
Yeah,
because
me too.
one thing can lead me to, well, I had it, maybe I'll just have it one every evening, one of these ice creams, Dawn, with that in the fridge.
Is that in the fridge?
That vegan ice cream. I looked at it last night when I unchilled
Oh my God, I forgot all
it was
about
weird.
that. I'm so bad right now,
I
Richard.
didn't even
I'm
look at it. Like
yeah.
funny thing was, it crossed my mind. I looked at it and I was like, no, I think I just did all this work
The
making
first thing I wanted to do was just leave the stream
it
and go grab one. That's bad. That's bad.
Well, I guess my addiction is over because I have this vegan ice cream that's in the freezer for probably a couple of years now. I got to clean it out.
good. It sounds like me. I'll leave stuff in there for so long. That's funny.
I think you're over it.
Yeah, I think so.
You left it there just to prove your willpower, right? To prove
Exactly.
you had the control. That's funny. Well, that's the way to do it. Like, we are going to be exposed to different things and different smells, and it's like it's hard to, until you completely do it for a while. And I know on you say that, but you've been on those track where you'll be just as strict as I am, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I think certain times a year too, it happens. Like sometimes for us, like with the changing of the weather, or some people with the holidays, you know what I mean? There's different foods you might start to crave, but the more good stuff you have in the house and the more good choices you have around you, and it becomes a habit. Like for me, I go to the store and you know exactly what you want, or if you're ordering online, these 10 things are what you buy and that's what you keep, and like you really start to enjoy it, I think,
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
when you're eating that oatmeal, it's like that's like the best thing ever. And like when I sit down with that salad, it looks like it's the first time I've ever ate it, because
Yep.
I get so excited about it, and like cuz I'm like hungry at that point, so it's
Yeah.
like you get used to whatever you get used to. Like if you do the same job every day and you like it, you look forward to doing that. You don't think about, oh, this was my old job. You get a
Right.
bit of doing different things. So I think our mind and our body just has to get used to that switch,
It does. Yeah,
And
what you were saying made me think of COVID a few years ago. My doctor said, when I had a physical after COVID, that I'm the only one who didn't gain any weight during COVID. And he's right. I always had healthy food in the house. I didn't buy any of the junk food. People were buying potato chips and
yeah,
during that time. That was
Yeah.
when I made myself 100% committed to this diet, even during that time.
that's great. I think I was too, because I had just went vegan in 2019. So I think that helped me. I was still on that, that beginning raw high, I guess you would call it. I was like, oh, I think that's when I actually started the YouTube and started doing videos and putting out the Facebook group. I think really helped me to stay motivated, because as people start following your journey, you want to keep giving them the information, and it all kind of feeds back in. As you help other people, you're helping yourself too.
Right. Right. That's
Yep.
so funny. Speaking of that, Diesel Dan, he was just saying that we were talking about that with the stock trading. As you teach others, you continue to learn yourself,
Oh,
So
absolutely.
yeah,
I'm still
that's
learning.
how,
Everybody learns something every day.
yeah,
You
Definitely.
discover new
definitely.
foods all the time, and yeah, there's things I'm sure I haven't tried yet that I still want to try.
Yes,
That's
and I think
awesome.
keep continuing to learn and evolve with our health is so important, like you've done. And Dan said that's when they gained weight. She worked from home, and he came off the road as a driver. We picked up 30 pounds.
Yep, so many
25.
people like that. Yep.
It'll
Yeah,
happen. It'll happen.
we were eating our emotions away at that time. A lot of people, and they had, what else was there? Most people were not near their fridge all the time, like they were.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
So it made sense that, I think, remember they used to say the freshman 20, like a lot of people would say something like that. I think it was in college, people would gain weight. Now it's the COVID 10 or something. People are saying like everybody had a little, because we weren't moving around, I guess, as much either. We weren't even going out. Some people took advantage of it and worked out a lot during that time because that was how they got through it, and some people went completely opposite.
And when I was in college, I didn't have the freshman 20. I pretty much stayed steady, but it wasn't until after college that I gained the weight, which is
Me too,
interesting.
actually. That's true. I think when I got into real life.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I think it was the stress of trying to find a job and figure out what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
It-
Stress is definitely something that'll make you eat, just to relieve it.
For sure. Yeah.
and that's when like it's like a catch-22 because then when you're eating the wrong things for the stress, it's making the stress worse and making you
Yeah.
not be at your, it's like a cycle. So if we can put the good stuff in, I mean, it really does, like I was saying, it helps me even at work. I feel like I'm better when I'm eating better, you
Oh,
know,
me too. Me too.
focused. Do you I know I've kept you for a long time. Our hour has almost gone an hour and a half. You probably have a busy
Oh
day.
no, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. I just wanted to ask, is there any like anything or any thoughts that you might want to, like share, that you have any tips or advice or
Yeah,
how we can
absolutely.
find you in the future?
Sure. Well, first of all, if you don't mind, I want to
This
mention my
this
book.
was Jen.
I wrote a book a couple of years ago, Plant-Based Journey to Health, and it details my stories and advice. But the one piece of advice I can give to people is go at their own pace. And some people can go fully vegan overnight, which is great for them, and I think that's awesome if they can. Other people can't do that, and you just got to go with what your body tells you, because it's really about staying on course in the long run. And if doing it overnight is too scary for somebody, they're afraid of giving never having their food again, maybe a more
Right.
gradual approach. So you really need to identify what works for you.
And what's the name of the book?
Plant-based journey to health.
This
Okay.
is a good pick of you too.
I'm glad you said that because I didn't like the picture at first. um, I have poor self-esteem sometimes, and I don't think
I love the picture, and it's in black and white, and that adds
yeah.
even more character to it. So yeah, that's an
My
awesome pick.
friend who's a photographer, Sherry, she took the picture, and she told me she loves the picture, and I didn't like
Yeah,
it at
it's
first,
awesome.
and I thought, maybe I'll share it since maybe other people have a better eye.
Well, we're always harder on ourselves, right? Like I'll watch this and not like the way this part of my hair looks or something.
Yeah, exactly. We're more critical of ourselves.
It's a good picture. Dan said it looks like you're on a journey and have seen good results. Yes. And that
Yeah,
picture on the bottom left, I love the green shirt with the showing the muscle too. So you gave us some good ones to show the difference or the transition, you know.
Yeah.
And I think if people like, do you sell the book on Amazon?
Yes, this is available on Amazon.
We'll put the link in there for you too.
yeah. Let's
I
put the link
appreciate
in
that.
there. Yeah,
And I think that's a lot of good advice, like whatever works for you. And I know that a lot of people, like if you read books, like if you get his book, or you also like can watch the documentaries, there's a lot of good
Oh
ones
yeah,
out there.
they really help too.
And a lot of people I noticed, they say that like 95, like people who go for ethical vegans tend to be like they stay vegan longer. And I didn't start out that way, like I said, I started as a diet, because sometimes when we do it for our health, we're topsy-turvy, because it's like, oh, I think I'll have this because I'm kind of healthy, so I'm feeling a little better maybe. And I think sometimes if you have a deeper meaning where you're trying to, reverse disease, or you're doing it for animals, or you're doing it for the
I'm glad
environment.
you said that. Yep,
It
I am the same way. Yep. I
so I think there's like what the health changed, like
that movie for me was a real eye opener too.
a lot of people talk about Dominion. I've never seen that. And Game Changers, I've watched that. That's a good one. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. I can put a list of them, and yeah, those were definitely. There's one that I saw. Oh well, mine raw food documentary, of course.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people that come on, Mariquita says meat Meet My Meat or something like that was one for her. Like some people have these like changing point,
Hey,
Yeah.
Mariquita.
book could be that for someone. That's what's cool about you having written that, your plant-based journey and taking your, you know, time out of your schedule to do that because you did that to help, tell your story. Somebody might pick that up and, and change their life. So
That's my
that's
hope too. Yeah. And you brought up
Awesome.
being an ethical vegan. I really think that helps people stay in compliance, with a healthy diet. Because if something has an animal product in it, I won't eat it now. Uh,
mhm.
Absolutely not because I'm ethical vegan now. So yes, I'll have a vegan junk food once in a while, but most people, I'm sure you've seen this around you, work environment, they're not
Yeah.
looking for vegan items. So that automatically keeps me away from the junk food because I know it's not vegan.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's true. And a
I'm
lot of
the
Absolutely
same. I'm the
does.
same. I'll do that. I mean, I may cheat with the Impossible Burger, but if it's
Exactly.
not vegan, I'm not eating it.
Yep.
I don't
Exactly.
want anything that's got any animal products or dairy in it.
Yep.
My body feels too good. And there would have
Exactly.
been a time where I would have eaten that stuff and it would have made me feel really bad. I was telling Jen,
Me too.
for as much as I've been eating that stuff, I don't feel bad. Like I don't feel like I'm
Yeah,
sweaty
you
or
can eat
high
as much as you
cholesterol.
want now. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
know.
count calories.
mhm. That's
And I used to when I tried
what
these fad diets, I would count
Mhm.
calories, and I don't miss those days.
No, definitely. Having to, I always joke about it, like having to measure your food is not very sustainable
Not
because
fun.
it's
Not
like,
No.
fun either.
I'm so hungry and I've got to wait now another, 6 hours before I'm allowed to have another piece of lettuce, right? So
Yep.
the thing is, we can, and I mean, it's like all this stuff in one. Sometimes I'm like, how it's such a like you can eat as much as you want. It's good food. You feel energy. You prevent disease, you help the animals and the environment. Come on, people. If you
Exactly.
haven't convinced you, right? And it's not about really convincing people to do what I do because everybody can do whatever they want. It's I just want people to feel as good as me. And I want them to be able
Absolutely.
to know they have control of their health, and that's
Yep.
why I think sometimes people say like, "Oh, why are you guys always pushing your diet or talking about it?" And I think that's all it is wanting to see other people as happy as
Yeah, I want other people to succeed. I don't want people to think they have to be on meds for life.
mm-hmm.
Right. It's
uh,
unnecessary.
we have another question. Difficult to find vegan foods in the supermarket, or are there in abundance, and do they seem to charge more for them? Like to me, there's a really an abundance over the last 5 years of
Yeah, there is.
options. I tend to not buy the processed vegan. Like when we talk about vegan food, it's like the cheapest food there is, like
Yep.
rice, beans,
They
vegetables,
do have vegan lunch meat,
fruit.
vegan sausage, and things like that if you're into that. But yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do. And I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say it's more expensive the way I've heard eggs and meat go
No,
up.
it isn't.
It's
Um,
just like anything else in the frozen food.
for me, all I need is the produce section. So for me,
yeah,
it saves money.
Right. Yeah, if you go whole food plant-based, I think that's if
that's
you
the
go
cheapest way.
Yeah.
vegan, then just like if you were to buy all frozen foods for your.
Oh, that's another cost savings there. Yeah. And the frozen veggies and fruit.
Mhm.
That's something I recommend as well.
Okay, I don't do a lot of I used to do a lot of the like the freezer bags, but now I tend to do, since I don't do as many vegetables, I like you said, do a lot of produce. So I've heard
Yeah.
though that that's just as healthy too.
It is actually in some cases healthier because they're froze, I guess, right away after
Right.
they're picked. And the food you get from the store is actually a few days old. So in a lot of ways they're healthier.
Oh,
Huh.
you're in
That's-
California, Dan. So that is a very vegan friendly area.
Yes. Yeah. I'm
It's
sure you
way
get a
more
lot of
vegan
variety
than
there.
where I am.
Vegan restaurants opening up there. That's yeah, you guys have
I'm
it.
lucky to be close to New York City, though. They do have some great vegan places there. Um, one of my favorites is Beyond Sushi. You were talking about sushi before.
Oh,
They have the best vegan sushi I've ever tasted.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. And where are you?
What's that?
Which state are you?
Oh, Connecticut.
Connecticut. Okay, so you're not
So it's
too.
only like 40 something minutes from New York.
Okay, cool. Yeah, East Coast over here, and we got Dan on here all the way on the other side of the world. We're connecting, right? Well, I think Wednesday I have a guy coming on from Japan.
Oh, wow.
Talk about his journey. So I'm like, wow, I love that the internet can bring so many people together from so many different parts of the world. Some people think it's a negative thing. I love it because of that.
And maybe try to have Andrew on too, because I think his story is very inspirational about the potatoes. I did interview him a few years ago myself. So
you mentioned Dr. Furman. I would love to have him. I think I might try to contact him.
Yeah, I'll give you his contact info afterwards.
Okay, cool. I think he'd be a great
Andrew as well.
Oh, definitely.
Well, thank you. Anything else you want to say in closing, Dawn or Richard?
No, I've learned so much, and this has been amazing.
Yeah, just keep at your journey. Don't give up. Get back on the bandwagon if you have failures, because failures will happen along the way.
They're stepping stones.
Yep, exactly.
Well, thank you, Dawn, for the beautiful background of the plants and pictures coming up. And thanks for my picture up there and Richard's photos. You definitely did excellent in the little thumbnail you made us for this. And
I love the thumbnail.
Co-hosting, that was great. And Richard, thank you for inspiring us with your journey and just giving us all the knowledge and your honesty with everything you've been through. So thank you and congratulations on that health change. Keep it up, keep those posts coming. So we'll put his link to the book in the description too if you guys want to get that. And thank you, Tessa, Diesel, Dan, and everyone.
Thanks everyone for the questions too.
Yes, thank you. It really helped to know what you guys were thinking, so he knew what to tell us, right? Even I had questions for him. It was so interesting. Thank you, Richard.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody who was down in the chat. Tessa, you said Matakita was down there?
I don't know. I think I just mentioned her video that she watched. She'll be catching the replay. I think she had something going on. Well, I know Dan is from ADT.
American Dream Trading runs on DD. I was about to say that's my dude right there, Diesel Dan. It's so awesome.
Thank you for
appreciate you so much.
All right. Well, you guys have a great evening. Well, I guess it's still
still daytime,
right? All right.
So you want to end with the poem?
That'd be great. Thank you. This is a poem I wrote, and Dawn put the beautiful video to.
Have a good one, everybody.
If we can become a plant-based nation, we could get off all our medication. We want to keep doing things like we were, donating to organizations claiming to fight for a cure. But the cure is already in front of our eyes, and it's time for us to wake up and realize. We may not want to believe we have control. It's easier for most of us to metaphorically live in a hole. So many stories of how being plant-based has reversed disease. It's funny that we can't stop eating meat with ease. We want to continue to look for the answer, yet people have reversed even cancer. I think finally as a nation, it's time to give people the truthful information. Your hard-earned money is what you pay to take your medicine day after day. Sadly, there's a lot of money being made in people staying sick. This has to finally make something click. We have to have this revelation that a cure means not selling medication. There's so many myths and misconceptions, but it's eye-opening once you make the connections. That meat and dairy are causing insulin resistance. It's not sugar and carbs causing diabetes, for instance. Scientifically, our bodies are not set up like carnivores. We model those who eat plants. If you can heal, why not give it a chance? You follow your car's owner's manual for what gas it takes, yet for our bodies without care, we feed it steaks. That's like giving an unleaded car diesel to drink. Our bodies will reject it, don't you think? I'm not here to tell you what to do, but to be a voice.
that when it comes to your health, you have the choice. With just a few adjustments to your diet, I can help if you just want to try it. I've found testimonials that people have reversed every ailment and disease by simply eliminating meat, eggs, milk, and cheese. There's a tasty substitute for all the things you already eat. You can get all your nutrients without eating meat. Save the animals, the environment, and yourself just by making a few different selections off the grocery store shelf. It's never too late. I've seen it work at all age ranges. It's my passion, and I can't wait to hear about your positive health changes. It's time for the world to wake up and heal, and you can start with your very next meal.